So welcome to our second full season in charge of Rosenborg as we're looking to rebuild this fallen giant. So in today's video we have our winter transfers as well as having a look at the youth intake and the tactical setup we are looking at using for the start of this new season, as well as having a look at the preview for the season ahead. Now my question of the day is, as this video goes out, the Premier League season in England has started and is in full swing now. Who do you think is going to be crowned champions? Is it going to be Manchester City with Pep Guardiola continuing his dominance? Do you think Arsenal can get ahead of them? Let me know in the comments below, unless Guardiola sacked before this video goes out, but let's assume he's not. Now, we are looking after our friend's dog this week, who is the quietest dog possible, but has decided to run around just as I click record. So, our intake, which happened a month ago, we have a couple of decent players. So, Anders Einar Engenvik is a goalkeeper. As always, we're recording a video, so there's down arrows. He's fairly decent, he really is. I think he could develop quite well. Jan Milner-Selin is a right winger who is fairly trash, but he adds depth to the squad. Lars Emil Winberg is decent. He does have decent attributes. His heading isn't the best, but I do think that will improve. The unambitious personality, though, is a bit concerning. And then finally, we have a left winger who I do like. I think this guy is probably the best of the lot. He is going to get retrained as a wing-back as well, so he can play, if we go to the wing-back formation, he can play there and he can play on the left wing. Now, he is only 5'5", and he has a jump and reach of 1. Now, I'm fairly sure my kids have a higher jump and reach than 1, so it's interesting to see him in the match engine, how bad he jumps. I like this, fairly poor in the air. With the jump and reach of 1, just remove the word fairly, just go with poor in the air. There's a couple others, but there's nothing really that stands out, so I think we'll probably leave the youth candidates there. In terms of the rest of our youth squad, though, we do have a couple who I am really excited about. The Polish guy is now 18 years old. Wojciech Kozklocki, yeah. We'll call him WK if he ever makes it into the first team. But he is really decent, and I think for an academy player, I think it just adds that bit of excitement of how good he is. The fact the other guy who came through is Polish as well just makes it a little bit exciting as well. Now, the 6'6" Shanker, who obviously made over 50 goals last season, has scored 4 in 3 pre-season games already. He's played some games for our B team last year. I hope he does feature more this year. He's only 16, and he's an absolute goal machine. He can't accelerate, so he definitely has to be a target man. Could maybe go 4-4-2 with a player like that, but there's a lot of potential in him. I just get excited thinking about how he's going to develop, to be honest with you. He does look like a really, really good player. The final youth player we'll look at in this pre-season video is Amund Storbach, who came through the intake last year. Played 10 games for the B team last season. I wish he was better technically, because mentally and physically, this guy is crazy good. Crazy good. If he just got a little bit better technically, I wonder if we gave him a full-time contract and got him working on the passing, etc. He's just so good mentally and physically. Just wish he was a bit better technically. Just remind our under-19s did fail to win promotion back to the top flight, so they will continue in this local division. They won it last year, winning every single game, I think it was last season. Yeah, 38 games played, 38 wins, 168 goals scored, 30 conceded, 114 points. So I do expect another successful season from our under-19s, and then it's just about getting over the line and getting qualification back to the top flight of Norwegian football. So on to our transfers then, and if we start here down the bottom of last season. So if I'll switch around, then at least you can see who we're going to be looking at. So first off, the outs, 2 players went out. So Renu went on a free. He was someone who just wasn't in and around the first team, to be honest with you, and they came in. He was on non-contract. I just decided not to put in the bid. And Mladendowski, I feel like I nailed that, who we picked up here on a free transfer on the 1st of April. We sold for 300k to Sogndal. I don't see potential for him developing into a great player. And after one season with us, to make 300 grand profit, I think was really, really good business. Really pleased with that. The ins that came in on last season's list then. The first one is Elias Hellberg. We brought him in on loan when we first started, and he now came to us on a free transfer from Songdal. And I think as an option in defence, he's very, very good. Really pleased to bring him in on only £825 a week as well, is a big help. Fredrik Sjelland, who was with us at Lillestrøm, never really featured for the first team, but was a stalwart in the B team at Lillestrøm. I just think he's a very solid central midfielder. 1.3k a week, mentally fantastic for a midfielder. I'm very, very pleased to bring him in for nothing. The next one is a new right wing back. Now, we did discuss how Henriksen was on 2.3k a week, and if we could cut that down, we would do that, and we've done it. So Gulbrandsen joins us on a free from Vålerenga. Now, we're going to save £800 a week on this guy, and if we do decide to move him on, we can sell him, where Henriksen was on loan. So he's valued up to 2.1 million. He's decent. He really is a decent right back, and he can play wing back as well if we go with our wing back tactic. Then finally, for 50k from Viking, Ronny Hamre comes in, and this is a player who I think, as long as he plays some games in our first team, his value should increase, and we will get money back if we do decide to move him on. And I do think, to be honest with you, that is one of the biggest things we need to focus on at the minute, is signing players who have a resaleability value to them. Because at the minute, we are still losing money. At the minute, we are not in Europe, and I'm not going to risk the long-term future of the club to get in Europe quickly. So we do need to make sure we are balancing the books and signing players who potentially are only with us for 12 months, then we move on. So on to the next screen list. First off, the German defenders left us after a very good season last year, but his tackle percentage, if you remember, was very low. He's ended up leaving us for 900k to New England Revolution. It was money we couldn't turn down, a lot more money than I think he was valued at. And two more players who left are both youngsters who I just didn't want to spend the money on to secure. So Rigsetter went to Vålerenga, and then Lund went off to Rofos. Both players who were okay, but we're never going to bang on that door, were they? So we spent 450 grand on this screens list, and again, let's look at it as they all have resale value. So first off, Pascal Bellinger, 50k, and I will tell you this guy I think is worth a lot more. So dribbling of 16, flair, work rate, teamwork, leadership, decent physicals, great agility. As a right winger, aged only 18 years old, paying £50,000 for him, I think was money well spent. I really do. I think he looks like a very good player. He lacks that concentration, which I do like players who concentrate, but sometimes you've got to take a risk for them flair players, and I think this Pascal Bellinger is our flair player of £50,000. For £240,000 on deadline day, couldn't see all of his attributes. Toshi Kastel joins us from Croatian club Sebalia. And yes, we have Finch up top. We have Seam as well, who's only 16. This guy, aged 18, I think was one we had to go for. Again, he lacks that concentration, and that is something I've noticed. As the regions come through and you get far in, we're in 2054, a lot of regions lack concentration, so we've just had to take the punt on him that he will score some goals. To be honest with you, my plan is to rotate him with Finchy, and when Seam gets 1 or 2 years older and becomes more of a first team regular, sell Castell. These are the type of players who you sign and move them on for 2, 3, 4 million potentially. So let's keep an eye on how he does. Now the next sign, again, last 3 signs were all on deadline day. Couldn't see his attributes properly. He was an A+ rating, and people were saying other clubs were interested in him. I think we wasted £500 a week on this guy. The only hope is we can maybe sell him in the summer for £100,000. That's my hope. Because he's very, very bad, and sometimes you make mistakes. You know, when you get that message saying, was it a deadline day panic buy? Well, that's what they said about this Pereira, the last one we're going to look at. Let me tell you now, that guy who we just looked at as a panic buy, this guy is not. So first off, C wants to leave us. After a very good season last year, he got in the top 50 Wonder Kids, and he now wants to leave. So we are looking at moving him on. So for £170,000, we've replaced him with a Uruguayan elder, who I think is very talented. I really do. I think he looks really, really solid, and I think could be a very good player for the squad. And at £170, I think one good full season with us, and there's a lot of resale value in him. So again, let me know what you think of him and our signings in general. Going into the season, we are looking at this 4-2-3-1. Like I say, C wants to leave us. He's had a really good season, so he is transfer listed. I hate that when you transfer list people, it automatically sets them surplus to requirements, because I just want to offer him out, set him as transfer listed, but not surplus to requirements, just a squad player or something. But we paid 275k. We're going to get our money back on C, I think, no matter what. So if I offered him our 1.1 at the minute, we'll just see if we can get the money. If I was in Europe, he'd be valued so much more. But 1.1 million, let's see if we can cash in on him. Our squad's okay. Our squad is okay. Ingebertsen in goal. We have that new right back with Shio and Figueroa in central defence. Dahl at left back. Torres and Nisund in defensive mid. Bellinger, Pereira, Torreson and Finch up top with Castell on the bench for today. Honestly, I think we've got a fairly strong squad for this season ahead. In terms of the season preview then, we are predicted to come 12th, 400 to 1, with KFUM Oslo, San Ezul, Fleur and Rofos below us. Now, unfortunately, our board cancelled some of our affiliate clubs. You would have saw in previous episodes, we had a couple around Europe. I did get asked, they came to me and said, do we want an affiliate club? And I said, yeah, find one who we can sign young players from abroad, basically. They came back with 3 recommendations, all in Norway. So I just rejected them. I'd rather focus on our B team than have another affiliate in Norway, to be honest. So our only affiliate is Waterford in Ireland at the minute, which is a bit upsetting, but it's just the way it is. But our squad in general, I think, has a lot of depth now. I'm really, really pleased with how we look, and I think there's a lot of potential in this squad. And the only concern I guess we have is we have a 30-year-old Janssen, 29, 27, 27, 26, 25. We have from here, so over half of our squad, we have what? How many is that? That's 16 of our 26. So 16 of our 26-man squad are under the age of 20. Bit concerning, but at the same time, I think we can do well, and if we need to, we might look at adding 1 or 2 experienced players. I do worry our defence is maybe a bit weak. I do worry that. I think Figueroa can be a very, very solid defender. I really do. In fact, he came to our academy helps. Shield also is a very solid defender, but I don't know how we're going to do. Maybe because our squad is so young, we might have to go to the wing-back tactic we have. We might have to look at playing 3 at the back, just a bit more solid basis to our squad. I'm not sure. It's something we are going to have to assess and look into as the opening few games of the season take place. Now, in pre-season, we did okay. We picked up a victory to start against Strandheim, then we beat Levanger before beating Narber. Narber is close to me. We then lost to IK Sirius 2-1 away before we played Herdu. We played last year in the Cup, if you remember. But we played them, got 3-0 victory. So 4 wins out of 5 in pre-season definitely puts us on the right path, 100%. Now, one of the biggest things we looked at is our expenses when it came to our staff wages, and all of them went out at the end of the season. So our law manager, technical director, some recruitment analysis, head physio, fitness coaches, head of youth development left us, chief scout, etc. So we were quite busy. We brought in, we can go through them all. So we brought in a couple of scouts. We won't bother looking at the scouts and physios and stuff. We brought in Casper Young as our new head of youth development on 2k a week. So that's like half of what the other guy was on. Another physio, we've got Lewis Chambers as a new coach on £600 a week. A lot less than the coach he replaced. Craig Atkins on 1.3k. The other one was on 4k. And a new head physio. And then we brought in a B team coach in Ferreira because we needed a bit more depth in that area. And 3 under-19 coaches, all on very low wages, £500, £500 and £750. Yet they're all very, very talented. So adding a bit of depth there to our coaching team. Our staff compared to the rest of the league is fairly decent. So I do think we can do well there. And we've just kind of streamlined what we have. So we have the physios filled out. And we have a couple of scouts. We don't have technical director. We do have a director of football still. His contract runs out at the end of this year, which we will let him go. But I am interested to see how our staff expenses looks this year compared to last year. Now, financially going into the season, and we are 101k in profit, just under 800 grand in the bank. And we're spending 29k on wages a week, which is more than last year. We spent about 22, I think, was last year. But we do need to develop and progress. So there was always going to be a slight jump in the wage expenditure. We're still not spending huge amounts, and hopefully we're not going to be hit too hard. I do think our cutback in staff wages helps balance out to spend a little more on the playing side of things. So we're going to get into the season and see how things go. In the next video, you will join me a few games in when we recap how it's all started. I've been Paul, also known as the Northman. Thank you for this recap of pre-season, and I will see you next time.